Welcome, everyone, to the Monday Mindset. I am Tracy Rader, the Director of Implementation here at Giant, along with my coworker and friend, Kevin DeShazo, who runs the sports division of Giant. It's called Culture Wins. So we are so glad that you've joined us today. Kevin, how's it going?
Great. We're out of the house. It's 60 something degrees. It's not minus 30. So this time last week, truthfully, it was like minus 33-degree wind chill, 8 inches of snow on the ground. And today it feels like a beautiful spring day as I look out the window. So life is fantastic. How about you?
Yeah, I can't complain at all. We've got people joining us. I think we're going to have some really fun people chatting with us today, I hope. So we got somebody from Orange County, California, I'm assuming, Ashburn, Virginia. I'm excited about our guest today. But first, I was watching that 2-minute countdown that we do, and I was seeing those climbers, and I was just struck by a question for you. And that is, in 2021, are you going to attempt something new in your life? Try something new? I don't mean you have to climb Mount Everest. I'm just saying,
that's what it feels like. That's what you just put on me. It's like, Kevin, I was watching climbers.
Or are you going to continue to sit on the couch, Kevin?
Well, now that I feel super lazy, am I going to try something new? Actually, that's a great, I haven't thought about it. Probably. I probably will. Weird story. And this just came to my mind. About a month ago, and I may have told you this, but I went to pull our trash bins and, from the road, the trash had been taken out, and Jacob's starting a business. I love it. Also, I remember Jacob's from Orange County, so I don't want to hear about your weather as we've had 10 inches of snow. So I'm pulling in our trash bins, and there's like a rattle in there. And I thought, okay, that's new. And I look in and there's a longboard. Like a brand new, fully functional, like longboard. And for those who don't know me, I my previous life, like I was a pro skater, travel around the country, like pretty big deal. That's not true. But I thought, like, I'm going to figure out how to longboard. And because it's either a mom got mad at their son, right, and just do it in the trash and as punishment, or it's stolen, or some. But I have a longboard now that's in great working condition. So maybe this is the year that I learned how to longboard.
I think that was a sign. I think that was a dumpster sign, if there ever was one.
That's a dumpster sign. Maybe dumpster signs are things we shouldn't be doing. Maybe that's what the sign is. Do not longboard.
I don't know. Just don't forget how old you are, Kevin. Don't do it. Hey, oh gosh, I was afraid you were going to turn it back on me because I didn't prep this for myself. Well, I'm kind of going on a sort of late one. I did start taking flying lessons right at the end of last year. So I'm going to push it into 2021. I've only had one actual in the air lesson, but I have been working on ground school. So it's fun, but wow, I've kind of one of the last lessons I learned kind of every way it can go wrong. And so as I was watching all the things you can do wrong when you're in the air, it kind of got me a little bit scared. But anyway, we'll see if I can.
Saw this weekend. You may have seen it. There was a flight. I don't remember where it was going. I think it landed in DC. It was a United flight, and like the engine basically exploded, was on fire. And they got video of people on the plane, but it landed safely. So people were freaked out. Like, no, this is actually proof that they're engineered well, they're designed well, that you could lose an engine and still bring it down. But what it feels like, what I think I heard you saying was, when I get back to traveling, I now have a personal pilot.
Oh, well, at your own risk there. Yeah. No. Yeah. I saw that on the news, that airplane engine, I think it was Denver it was going to go to Hawaii. So can you imagine getting up and going that far? But I don't think they were on. Well, anyway, I don't know all the details, but yeah. You see fires. Okay, well, I don't want to spend any more time on us. People know us well enough. What I really want to spend time on is our guest today, because I'm really excited about this individual. And I think that we are going to set our mindsets on a great trajectory today because of him. So I'm going to leave. I'm going to be manning the chat. So if any of you watching on Facebook or LinkedIn or the Giant platform, if you have questions for our guest or comments, we want to hear from you. So take it away.
Absolutely. So thrilled today to we're going global with our guests, and so we've had a global audience now for a while. Had people from all over the world kind of chiming in and joining us on the Monday Mindset. But today we've got our first international guest. And I'm thrilled to have a conversation with my friend, Jon Sakarias Liknes from Norway. And Jon is one of our giants, working a lot in the construction industry. Let's just jump into it. Jon, welcome to Monday Mindset.
Thank you, Kevin. It's an honor to be here.
I'm thrilled to chat for a bit. So kind of as we always do, kind of kick off letting our people kind of tell their story, who they are, what they're about, what they're up to these days. So if I were to say, who is Jon Sakarias? Like what's your 1 to 2 minute answer on that question?
Yeah, so I'm just a regular guy living in Stavanger, and I guess everyone knows what that is. But in case you don't know, it's on the west coast of Norway. I have been married to a fantastic wife for 14 years now, and I have 3 great kids. So, I started working as a woodworker, building small houses and refurbishing them. And then I kind of switched gears, and now I'm working at a tech company called Veni. And we're a company that have a vision to try to build the future. So I'm privileged to get to build people, technology, and projects. I'm working with a lot of different people, from the C-suite to the site managers on construction sites. So mostly in construction, but also with some public clients. And as a side note, I also have the privilege of being one of the mentors for one of the big, large-scale virtual design and construction program in Norway, which is a collaboration with Stanford University and the Norwegian NTNU, which have kind of 200 students. So yeah, a lot of different things going on.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. So woodworking, how did you get into woodworking? Is that a family trade, or is that just something that you've always been passionate about?
Yeah, it was kind of it just happened. I was actually wanting to do some sports, but I didn't have the grades to get in. So I didn't want to go be a teacher, so I just started, maybe I should do something practical. And there I was trying to use a hammer, and something I didn't have done too much. And I saw that it was a good industry, a lot of good people, and I wanted to, so I went back to school, study engineering, and started as a general contractor.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think, one, I'm not a woodworking expert, but my very, very basic knowledge of it is that there's a discipline with that, right? Like you have to show up. There's a vision that you're creating something, but it takes time, right? It takes patience, it takes persistence, it takes commitment. So talk about kind of just the mindset of committing to woodworking and committing to a project and the daily battles, the daily grind that you kind of have to face to stay focused on the work that you're doing, knowing that, and you're starting from scratch, but you're building something that could be really significant. So talk about mindset as it relates to woodworking.
I think the really good thing about woodworking is you can actually see what you're building, and you see like the results. And even if it takes time, I think that it's good to actually you can touch the results. I think that one of the most important things I learned is actually it's okay to fail. I was kind of really afraid of doing anything practical because I was afraid of messing it up. So actually learning to fail, and it is possible to fix it, and you can actually learn from it and do better. That was kind of the really key takeaway, and a really important one for me, actually, because I was kind of holding me back doing new things because I was too afraid to fail. So
yeah,
that actually had a really big impact on my mindset, learning how to fail forward.
Yeah. Well, and there's a great phrase you said in there, like you're going to fail, you're going to mess it up, right? That's kind of part of life, but you can fix it. And I think too oftentimes we think that failure is this like final fatal thing. It's like, no, if you mess something up, you fail, like you just regroup and figure out a better way forward, right? You fix a mistake and then you keep going. So I love that phrase in there. So let's just talk about mindset overall. Like when did it hit for you that mindset was something that was important, that was significant, that you needed to be paying attention to in life?
So when I grew up, I think I thought that everything was possible and didn't have any limits or whatever. And but when I was around 14 years old, I got beat up by an older guy, and he threatened me, and that kind of really made me have a lot of fear and insecurity, and kind of took away the belief in myself and that actually I could do. And I think that was the first time that mindset came to mind. And I didn't have the tools to actually deal with it then, but I had a lot of good people around me, and that has helped me work with that, overcoming the fear. And that I think I came when I was in my early 20s, that it was actually a choice that I needed to make for myself. That doesn't take away what happened or whatever, but it's actually a choice that you have to make. And after a while, I also have found that it's really important to make that choice every day, like really turning it into a daily habit. And I'm a pioneer connector, so routine and discipline is not a thing that is natural to me. So I really have to work on keeping that discipline and that routines, which I know is healthy, but still struggle so much doing.
Yeah. Well, I think, bad things happen, right? Like the world is full of things that are going to go the wrong way. Life is difficult. And it's easy for us and normal, that situation happened to you. It's easy to let that define the way that you show up consistent. Well, this thing happened, so of course I should be afraid. Of course I should be insecure, because remember, this happened, and you could be 20 years past that and still letting that define the way you're showing up, right? And again, it's not the point isn't to ignore things or act like things didn't happen, but to your point, like, you get to choose how you actually respond to that. But it sounds like for a season, your response to that was unhealthy, right? It led to fear. It led to insecurity. It led to an unhealthy mindset. And again, that's not a shame thing. That's a normal thing. That's how most of us would respond to that situation. But how did you see that negative mindset actually impacting your life now that you look back on it?
So I kind of abdicated in some areas. I didn't dream. I didn't have a belief that I could make a difference. So I kind of held me back a lot. And I kind of just looked at all the others and what they were good at and everything that I couldn't do. So I think that I have a really good mentor, which has spoken a lot about, it's not what you have that matters, but what you do with what you have. And that's just kind of like a key thing for me. It's how do you steward what you got, and use that as and that kind of shifts your focus in what you have and what you can do with what you have, instead of looking at everyone else's strengths. So yeah, I think that was really a key for me. And also the other one is having people around me that I could borrow their belief, because I didn't have it myself at the beginning. So I really could, when I had a lot of people through the years that had believed in me and that I could actually do great things. And when I didn't believe in myself, I could borrow their belief. So I think that's like the two things I really is encouraged about, that it's a choice you have to make daily, and you shouldn't do it alone. You should have some people around you helping you when it's challenging, because life is.
Yeah. Well, and there's a really good point in there of being able to borrow the belief of others, right? Because we go through seasons and days, like we have off days, we have down seasons, and that's okay, right? We're human. Perfection isn't the point or the goal, but to have people around you who are speaking truth, who are believing in you, who are encouraging you when you don't have it, it's like, okay, I don't have it today, but I'm going to borrow their belief. And then for us to realize, like, I think stirring up belief is a key role of leaders in any organization, any team, any setting. And because your people aren't always going to believe, right? It's like, as a leader, you have to be stirring up belief. You have to be full of belief so they can borrow it from you. So I think that's a really good point. And I think too, knowing your personality, right? Like knowing who you are. And you said you're a pioneer connector. For those who don't know giant language, a pioneer connector is a dreamer, right? Like, and you said it kind of who you were early on. It's like, I just always thought anything was possible, that I could figure things out, that I could do whatever, which is how a pioneer connector thinks. Like, they wake up each day, it's like, let's go, right? We can do anything. Nobody's going to stop us. And that unhealthy mindset, because of that event, was actually robbing you of who you naturally were, right? You stopped being a dreamer. You stopped being confident. And then to realize that and say, no, I've got to get back to who I am. I've got to get back to who I was created to be. So you borrow belief from others, but what are some of the practical things that you started to do to kind of rebuild your mindset and get back to being who you are and you at your best?
Yeah. So I decided I needed a mentor, which was like really helped me with my mindset, because I couldn't do it myself. So I asked a guy I trusted, which is, I kind of was hoping that somebody would ask me if they could mentor me, but that didn't happen. So, okay, I need to go for it.
Yeah.
And
how hard was that? It's like to actually ask for that help, say, I need someone to help me get a better mindset and to kind of course correct.
Yeah, I think that it was a bit hard, but I kind of said to myself, okay, it's if someone would ask me, even if I said no, I think it was like compliment. So kind of thinking what I got to lose. I don't have anything to lose by asking. What's the worst that can happen? So yeah, just overcoming that fear was really key. And he really kind of provided both support and challenge. Kind of calibrating that was really a key, giving me the belief that I could do, but also kind of show me when I did things that wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
So that was and I think also a key thing was that trying to understand my personality, understanding who I really was. And I spent a lot of time and several years actually understanding that I was a pioneer connector. I thought I was a guardian nurturer, which was kind of a learned behavior, which was, my parents are really great and they are a nurturer and guardian. So I kind of learned a lot from them, but like the liberation of understanding that who I was kind of just suddenly could do a lot more. And it was kind of just really liberating to understand that I wasn't a nurture guardian. I was actually a pioneer connector, which is really like the nemesis of each other.
That's right. Yeah.
So a lot of learned behaviors, which actually also led me to being almost burning out, because I was doing a lot of things that was just consuming energy. Because I've learned that I've become pretty good at it, because I've done a lot, but that didn't give me energy. So actually, using the tools from Giant, to knowing yourself, to lead yourself, to actually going deeper and understanding who am I and how can I be at my best, and what I can do many things, but what is natural to me and what can I do to really help. So I think that's discovering my tendency, and really and that is still a journey, always finding out some new tendency, which never goes away, which is really frustrating, like the routines and the discipline. I really need to work on that. And so I think that is,
well, and it's, it's really interesting in there. So many of us, we respond in an unhealthy way to difficult situations. And again, that's fairly natural, but to back up and be able to reflect and say, well, what was my response, and why was my response what it was, right? Was it insecurity? Was it fear? Was it lack of self-awareness? And say, okay, well, I'm probably going to face that kind of situation again. Now, maybe not being bullied or beat up. I'm going to face adversity again. What should my response be? Because we get to choose that, right? Like those tendencies are always going to be there. That fear and insecurity will probably always rise up, but we have a choice in how we actually choose to respond, if we'll know ourselves well enough to lead ourselves, which is where mindset becomes such a critical thing, is to understand why your mindset is the way it is based on how you typically show up. Say, no, I get a better choice. I can choose a better way forward. And so now, as you're working with leaders and leading your kids and leading your family, how do you try to help leaders and those around you have a better mindset? We talk on Monday Mindset all the time that our mindset shapes how we approach every day, right? Like in our current reality has a direct relationship, a direct path to our mindset. So how are you trying to work with leaders to develop healthier mindset? And as you said earlier, on a consistent daily basis, right? It's not a one-time event. Like it's a daily practice.
Yeah, I think that getting people into a rhythm which is like helping them keep track of, that's important, because I think everyone agrees that it's important, but it's kind of hard to actually have the discipline with everything's going on all the time. And also I think especially now when COVID hit, all those kind of natural transitions back and forth to going to work, and then you kind of just got stuck in fourth gear or a lot of multitasking, and we didn't have the transition to actually stop and think about, okay, where do I need to be for the next meeting, or when I get home. It's kind of just going clock the whole day and night. So I was really trying to give them reminding them of, okay, what is the right mindset for this? And obviously I think it's always yourself first. So I try to stay healthy, have a healthy mindset, and hopefully that also influence the people around me. So I have a lot of check-ins with people, ask them how they're doing, what's their daily habits, challenging, giving them some challenge on what did they do on a consistent basis. On when they get up, what is the most important thing? Kind of asking those questions. What do you want to define your day? And a lot of us, and including me, could just get up and go just straight into work, reading emails or Facebook or whatever. But actually, what do I want to have maybe the best time of the day? What do I want to put in that kind? So having that, for those who know the 5 gears, having a really clear strategy for first gear, recharge. I think that is really important, especially when at these times when you are when you are working home and everything, like every habits have been changed. So having a really strategic approach to recharge mode. And actually trying to help people discover their personality and how do they recharge, because that was really a key for me. I thought I knew what my first gear was and what I recharged, but I found out several times that that wasn't recharge, that was actually work. So I'm a pioneer connector, and I obviously like to work and do a lot of things. So I really have to be intentional about shutting off. That is really hard. And my tendency is to go straight to fourth gear in the morning, just starting working, having a lot of problems I want to solve and ideas to dream about, but being deliberate about what's in my first gear every day. So having a daily first gear strategy is a thing I like to challenge the people around me and the leaders I'm working with.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's possible to have a healthy mindset without a healthy first gear. Now, if you're new to Giant, you guys may not know this 5 gears language, and that's okay. Tracy will put up Jon Sakarias' link. You can use that, get a free account with Giant, and there's a whole series on the 5 gears. So I highly recommend you work through that series. There's also a way, if you take the 5 voices assessment on the platform, you'll have a coaching channel based on your voice, based on your personality. And one of the things that it will process with you is how do you rest and recharge based on your personality, based on how you're wired, because we all do it. To Jon's point, we all do it differently. And you may think you're resting when you're actually working, but I think to make rest a priority, it's a secret weapon for leaders, but it's a secret weapon for mindset, because so many of us, and you nailed it with this COVID world we live in, it was already bad, right? So many of us already woke up, and before our feet hit the ground, right, we're checking our phone, checking email. But now we wake up and we check our phone, check email, and then we don't go to the office. We go downstairs, or we go to the kitchen, or we go to the home office and we work, and we're in fourth gear all day. And then maybe we walk into the kitchen, eat dinner with our family, and we go back to our computer. and then we work until 10 o'clock at night, and then you check email one last time on your phone before you go to bed. And we're busier than ever, but we're less productive than ever, and we're just exhausted. And to take that time to recharge, as I've studied successful people, however you want to define success, their morning routine is really critical. And again, doesn't mean they wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and, run a marathon and go to the gym and write a book, but it's what they do when they wake up. And it's exactly what you were saying, starting your day with first gear. Like, who am I? What do I want this day to be? How do I want this day to go? Because otherwise we're just going to go right into go mode and be exhausted and burn out. So I think it's a really critical point that you made of how critical first gear is to our mindset.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think that so for me, because the routines and the discipline is hard, I kind of have this mind trick of always trying to switch a bit of it, trying to improve it, always looking for not doing exactly the same. That is kind of my key to actually keep at it. So I really try to, I can't be 100% throughout the day. I need to decide who needs my best today, and also what kind of, both the second gear, who do really need me to be present with them. It could be my kids, it could be a colleague or a client who really needs my best, and also what do I really need to have done today? What kind of product? Where do I need to really be productive today? And I think that is really being intentional, because the time is always short, and we are also really being intentional of how do I lift up people today, and who do I want to lift up?
And trading up to that mindset of looking through your calendar each morning. I've got to meet with this person, this person, this person. Okay, what does that person need from me, right? Kind of what you're saying. How can I be my best? Instead of just showing up to the meeting, all right, what are we doing? What do we need? And just another Zoom call, another email. But to be present with that person, to think about that person and those people before you actually meet with them, allows you, as you said, to show up intentionally, which is such a key word that we use in the giant world all the time. But to be intentional as you do that, and I know some of you are listening, and this sounds like a lot of work, and it kind of is, but the benefit of it is unbelievable, right? Like, you can just go through the day and have drama and disconnect and frustration, or you can go through your day on purpose and actually connect with people and build relationships and build trust and make progress. And it's like, which reality do you want? Well, then we've got to develop the mindset that allows us to have that reality.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that I reflected a lot on is it harder to actually be intentional than not? I'm not sure. Sometimes it's hard, but life's hard anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that you necessarily work harder because you're intentional, but you kind of work on the right things.
Yep. You choose your heart.
Maybe,
right?
Yeah.
You choose the difficulty that you want to have. Yeah.
Yeah. So the intentional is really key, and probably one of the things that was really the last couple of years has influenced me a lot, being really intentional about what I want to spend my time. And that also is what comes natural. When am I out at my best? And being intentional about that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Tracy, we got any questions coming in from our 13 million viewers today?
Yeah, first of all, I'd just like to say, Laura, I put it on the screen, Laura said that she's loving your vulnerability and your authenticity. And I agree, Jon, it's a great conversation. I think some people go, oh, mindset, that's for connectors who are all and mindset's for everyone. And it doesn't have to be a show or a program. It's just as a way of thinking. And I think you've made that point very clear. So Laura wants to know if you still have a coach and a mentor. Are you still working with someone?
Yes, I do. And I encourage everyone to get one, because I think that is really a key. And that's also why I've decided that I want to be one as well, because I think I also grow more when I become, because it makes me more intentional when I have to coach somebody and be a mentor. And I have also found that this is so liberating and so giving me a lot of freedom. So I want to pass that on to others, let them experience the same. So yeah. ask somebody if you don't have a mentor already. Just do it.
Yeah, I think you made a great point that people aren't going to just go out there and go, hey, can I mentor you? Can I mentor you? You know, you actually do have to probably take the first step. And it's always great to have someone that's mentoring you. And then there's always somebody that you could be mentoring, even if it's a young child with reading or something like that, right? Okay, another question. Shannon is saying, I think we were talking about first gear, so she really wants the specifics. What do you do for your first gear recharge? Her husband is a pioneer, so she wants to give him some ideas.
Yeah, so like I said, for pioneers, our mind is always working. So I really have to have something that I really need to focus on, concentrate on. So I like sports, play soccer when I have the possibility to do that, and that kind of really shuts off just focusing on the soccer. Also try some golf, but I'm really bad at it, so I kind of too frustrating. Yeah, and I think actually for me, I like music as well. So sometimes just going into the experience of enjoying the music, which is also a kind of focus. So I have to somehow focus in a way to get my mind off, because if not, I will just think about work again. So I think maybe also some kind of competition, because pioneers really is competitive and likes to win, and always a bad loser as well. So it's challenging even playing with the kids. It's really hard. But yeah, something that really helps you focus. And actually, I was listening to reading a lot of books which was related to leadership and mentoring and attitude, and I thought that was first gear, but it was kind of just it was the same. So I really had some experience that caused me to change that, because I understood that wasn't actually my first gear. So
that's a huge realization, though, to realize, like, wait a minute, I feel like I'm resting, but I'm actually still going. And for pioneers and connectors can be similar. Like, being active is like, it may look like we're not resting. It's like, I like to run. Like, how is that resting? I'm like, that's where my brain can focus on anything other than work. And sometimes it gives me clarity about work, but it's usually like being active allows me to focus on something else. Whereas like my introverted kind of nurturer wife, she prefers to be alone, maybe reading a book or taking what we would typically think of as rest or recharge. But for some of us, that can be exhausting too, right? To sit and be quiet. But so being active for a pioneer is actually a restful, recharging thing.
That's good. There's a little follow-up to that with Laura. Again, she says, any tips on how to overcome tendencies? So she says, I aim to walk slow practically every day and hardly ever achieve it. So she's a pioneer as well.
I think that having somebody who work close with you or actually seeing you in action, and have them have you accountable and reminding you and showing you your blind spots. That is, I have a fantastic wife, which is showed me a lot of my tendencies, which I didn't see myself, and provided, like, having somebody who could actually calibrate, support, and challenge when you don't see your tendencies yourself, and then also, having to commit to somebody else that you are working with this. I think that is also maybe giving that extra push.
Great. All right, we are running out of time. We have one more, and this is about you as a father. I can't remember if you told us how old your kids were. Where did my question come? Oh, here it is. It's from Jordan. He says, how does your healthy mindset come into play for you as a father? What are practical things you do with your kids to teach them how to establish a healthy mindset?
So I have a kind of good example with my daughter, which I showed her the support and challenge matrix, and actually asked her how she experienced me, and I thought I was being too dominating for her, but she actually said that you aren't challenging me enough, you're too supportive and protecting me. So it was kind of sports, and she's probably a pioneer as well. So she was kind of just irritated that I didn't believe in her and challenging her really. So I think that is, the tools are really easy to use, and you can show them and ask them how they think. When do they what do they say to themselves? When do they feel fear? Just kind of ask them and bring it up. And it's not always they want to speak about it, but sometimes you get time to speak with them about it.
And how old is your daughter?
She is 12.
12. Okay, that's great. Wow. Well, that's all the questions we have from our viewers. Jon, this has been incredible. Thank you so much again, just for your vulnerability and honesty. I love it. Kevin, any last words?
No, Jon, just appreciate you. I love what you're doing, what you're about. The vulnerability, especially from a pioneer, which isn't always what we get, and the willingness to share stories of being unhealthy and the work that you've done to get healthy and how that has become a thing you want others to get too. I think that's the critical thing, is like mindset isn't just for you, it's for others too. And to be able to multiply that in other people, but you can't give what you don't possess. And so you've done the work and are doing the work to have a healthy mindset so that you can multiply that into leaders that you work with, organizations you work with, and maybe most importantly, into your own family. So appreciate you. Love your insight. Again, for those listening, make sure if you don't have an account on Giant, go to Jon's link, fill out the information. It's free. If you need to connect with him, that'll be the way to do it. Like, you can take a 5 voices assessment. You want more information for you or your team, it'll say connect with Jon, and he'll be right there. So Jon, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining us on the Monday Mindset.
Thanks for having me. Great speaking with you guys.